everyone, my name is Noah Meehan of The Arc of Truth, and I would like to apologize in advance for not making a video last week. This month has not been a good month for me. I had to deal with the fact that I had acid reflux, and of course, my car is broken down. I'm trying to get it repaired, but I'm not a mechanic, and it's really irritating for it not to start. So, yeah, pray for me about all of this, and hopefully I get it fixed soon. And just a little bit of words of the wise, if you're dealing with acid reflux, I highly suggest you take Tums, an acid reducer, and add a little bit of berries and vegetables to your diet. I am not a doctor in any way, but considering the fact of my own experience as well as actually talking to my doctor, which I highly suggest you should do, I would suggest you do something about that. Anyway, onto this video. Right now, we're seeing a major backlash going on. This kind of backlash is what reminds me of what if Autist says about in terms of a potential backlash by the right wing. Now, of course, this is not like a big backlash like how there's like people on the streets or anything, but this is definitely a major economic backlash that we are seeing. And I'm not just talking about in terms of Bud Light losing a lot of money, billions of money, although that's definitely mentioned, but also with BuzzFeed and Disney, just to name a few. BuzzFeed is shutting down. Thousands of people have already been left off, and those who haven't are going to eventually be absorbed by the Huffington Post, which, by the way, has their own problems to deal with. I would not be surprised if they are in the similar situation as BuzzFeed, and considering the fact that they have their own activist journalists, I would say, yeah, they are going to cut off those people from BuzzFeed as well. After all, they are a bunch of juniors while they have their own experienced activist journalists. At least they have more seniority within the company. And honestly, a lot of people, me and myself included, we are happy because BuzzFeed is one of those toxic places that I argue are not true journalistic business practices, but actually pushing a political narrative. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's obvious that they've been preaching a political narrative for the last several years. Their main focus is on leftism. That's their main demographic consumer base, and of course they publish a lot of articles in regards to extremism, whether on the internet, YouTube, BitChute, or whatever. It's actually affected Six Hexed Hammer himself. And he mentions that in his own video, which about BuzzFeed going down, which he actually made just a few hours earlier. And honestly, I would not be surprised. Honestly, BuzzFeed is one of the main contributors about the political situation that's currently going on in this country. So yeah, good riddance for you, BuzzFeed. And now we're not just seeing that within the activist journalists in the industry. We're seeing that with Bud Light, who thought it was a good idea to partner up with Dylan Mulvaney, who I gotta say is not transgender, but just more of a person that's wearing a dress, trying to get some kind of an ego boost because he believes it's so stunning and brave, and just trying to gain some kind of 15 minutes of popularity for literally doing nothing. And guess what? The consumer base of Bud Light said no. To the point where as far as I know, Bud Light has lost billions of dollars. $6 billion, in fact. It could be much more. I think maybe it could be $8 billion. But it's still like, wow, it's bad. It's not going to do too much damage, I think, to Anheuser-Busch, but it's definitely a major wake-up call. And the fact that the CEO of Bud Light went out to have a half-assed apology, as well as try to make this commercial to be pro-American, immediately after this, by the way, goes to show that it's not a real apology, and they don't care. They're going to get involved in politics if it somehow if they for some reason think it's going to help their brand. Ironically enough, they did all of this as a means to try to grow their said consumer base, which is kind of weird, especially considering the president of marketing's own comments calling it, we're trying to move away from the fraternity-based blue-collar group to other consumers. And man, how badly did they fuck up on that? Especially considering that a lot of blue-collar workers do not care for this, and many of them are actually on the right wing, me included. Now, I don't drink Bud Light, so this boycott does not affect me. In fact, I don't drink at all, except like maybe Diet Coke. But nonetheless, I'm actually rooting for their own destruction. They kind of put themselves in this position. Hell, we're even seeing this in the form of Disney itself as well. With rumors suggesting that Disney is going to sell off several studios. And considering the fact that they've been laying off a lot of people, they've been losing millions of dollars, and that that Bob Iger and Ron DeSantis are in a fight over I think it was Cedar Creek it was called. It goes you can't say that these rumors are not without merit. Now, why is all of this happening? Why is this all happening? It's because that there's a major backlash. It has this kind of economic backlash reminds me of What If Odd History. He talks about how that there is going to be some kind of rise by the right wing in some form over the fact that a lot of these groups that are being controlled by the left, whether it's the media, the White House, Congress, entertainment, whatever. He mentions that there will be some kind of backlash as a result of being pushed around. And let's be honest, people don't like to be pushed around too much, especially considering that, well, people do get angry as a result. They do not like to be shamed. They do not like to be talked down to, especially since all they wanted, at least in the case for the consumer base of Bud Light, was just a freaking beer. And considering the fact that they've been through a hard day's work, I don't necessarily blame them for wanting to wind down and just not deal with crap like this. This is the kind of backlash that my opinion, meets its criteria. It's not a big backlash. It's not going to lead to necessary conflict. It's definitely an economic one. People are voting with the dollar. People are just done with this crap. They don't like the wokeness. They don't like to be talked down to. Now, is this going to be having a major effect in the short term? In honesty, probably not. It's definitely going to have a lot of people notice it. It's definitely going to have a lot of people talk about it. But in terms of like having a major impact, like it's going to have a rocketing effect in terms of changing the standards of the industry, especially with their USGs and stuff like that. It's going to take a while. I mean, leftism is heavily entrenched. Wokeism is heavily entrenched within these companies, within politics, etc. So it's going to take a lot of time. But this is only showing that a lot of America does not care for this. They do not want this. They're tired of it, and they're done with it. They're going to use they're going to spend their own money through other means. I mean, I'm sure, after all, thanks to the fact that there are definitely other studios or other places in order to get a beer from, and thank you for the internet for creating a more independent media, they are going to go somewhere else where they can actually spend their dollar with some kind of value. Instead of Bud Light, they will go with Coors Light. Instead of BuzzFeed, people are going to independent media, either me, 616 Hammer, Tim Pool, anyone. And instead of Disney, they're going to try someone else. Maybe they may actually make their own movies by themselves. Who knows? In fact, I highly encourage people to do that, even though it's a time-consuming process. But this goes to show, this kind of economic backlash, although we have seen that in the past, I think it's just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. Sooner or later, people within these companies are going to have to reevaluate everything that they've done and have to change. Because you cannot piss on your own consumer base. Especially when they can piss back. My name is Noah Meehan, not the Arc of Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share with friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, or how I speak, or any improvements whatsoever, please post it in the comment section down below or directly message me. Thank you.
Almost heaven.